Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okey. Saya mewakili untuk Pusat Pengajian Siswaza IPSis. Pagi ini kita ada satu lagi sesi, iaitu sesi Evaluation Proposal for Master by Research yang akan penceramahnya adalah Profesor Engineer Dr. Zuhaina Haji Zakaria, Pengarah Pusat Pembangunan Kemudahan Akademik. Sebelum itu saya mohon Prof untuk mulakan pembentangan Prof. Terima kasih.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Boleh dengar suara saya? Okey, Assalamualaikum dan selamat pagi. Let me share the slide. Anyway, first of all, I would like to thank IPSis for this invitation. And I can see here we have, I think, 2, 4, 7 very enthusiastic participants here this morning. Okay, I cannot see your video, but I hope that you get some benefits from this talk. As Panaslina mentioned just now, my name is Zuhaina, and my background is actually in electrical engineering, but currently I'm with Institute of Leadership and Development, ILD and STEC. Okay, I will share my screen. Let me see. Okay. Okay. When I share my screen, I cannot see the chat box or the video, but I hope you can see this screen. Okay, let me use this one first. Okay. Okay, the screen yang saya tunjuk tadi boleh nampak eh? Okay, can somebody say that you can see my screen just now? The slide? Okay, so this webinar titled Evaluating Proposal for Master by Research. Okay, I'm sure that all of us has already experienced doing this. So this is just a sharing session, especially for those who maybe have not have any opportunity in evaluating proposal for masters by research. So before we proceed, just let us. I'd like to bring back your knowledge on why we need the research proposal. Okay, So basically, research proposal, the main thing is that normally it's because a university's requirement, because some universities may not have defense of research proposal, okay? But other than that, a good proposal would help to show that the research is worthwhile, okay? And it's meaningful, meaning that it can give some knowledge back to the society and also to the body of knowledge. It's viable, it's also feasible, and it can be done within constraint. I mean, within the time allocation and also resources. For example, for masters, maybe we have um, minimum time is 3 semesters. So we should be able to see if the research can be done within that time. So there are several components included in a research proposal. We have background study, objective, right? Significance of studies, problem statement, research question, scope of work, and many other things that you can see from the slide. But if we look at this graphic, you can see that the larger font would be about the problem, okay, and problem and also the research part. So meaning that the main important thing in a research proposal is the problem statement. Why do we need to do this research? What is the problem that make us want to do the research? So the candidate should be able to highlight this in the proposal. So this is a common content of proposal for engineering and science. We have the title, background of the problem or studies, problem statement, the objectives, and then research methodology, either in terms of research design, sampling, data collection, data analysis, and so on. Literature review, significance of the study, scope and limitation of the studies, Gantt chart, and finally list of reference. So if we compare with other field, for example, social science, they might have like conceptual framework, for example. But I believe that most of the research in engineering and science is based on simulation or experiment, which um, more appropriate to include research methodology or research design. And this I extracted from IPSis website. So if we look at the assessment form for proposal for masters, you can see that the major part of the marks are from the problem statement, 20%, objective, 20%, literature review, hypothesis development, conceptual framework, 20%, and research methodology, 20%. While the balance come from the significance of the research and also title of research, 15% and 5% respectively. So from here, when we evaluate, we should pay attention to these 4 components of the proposal: problem statement, literature review, research objective, and also research methodology. So when you receive the proposal, okay, uh, how can we read it effectively? Okay, because there are many components. So I would like to suggest that to get a powerful first impression, we will look at the title, okay, and then we read the problem statement, followed by research objective, scope of the studies, significance, and research methodology. Okay, so these 6 components will give us a glimpse of what research is all about. And also, at the end of this reading, we will go back to the research title and evaluate whether the title really represent this research. Okay, so I will go by this sequence, and this is how I normally read a proposal, or in fact a thesis also. So when you read the components of title, look at does the title really represent the exact meaning and covers the study carried out. Okay, so once you have complete your first reading, you can see that if the title really covers all the activities, and is it a clear reflection of project content. So when you evaluate, we have the marks from 1 to 5. If it is really a clear reflection of the project and carry the exact meaning and covers all activities, then you can give a full 5 marks for that. Okay. IPSis also, I think, has an assessment form with rubric. So you can see that if it's only reflect half of the activities, so you might give not full 5, maybe 3 or 4 marks out of that. And then when we look at the problem statements, um, try to get or extract statements that really include the problem which is being investigated. And then also from here, you can look at the research objective or research questions, okay? And what are the literature supporting these statements. And under problem statement also, you can see whether there is any justification of why the research is being proposed. So this is normally from the research gaps, okay? And you can also look at the importance or novelty of the research and what are the scope and limitation of the studies. So because this also will give you some gauge on, is it really appropriate or suitable for master's degrees, okay, with the constraint of time and resources. And now, when you evaluate on research methodology, um, we need to look at, is the methodology proposed is suitable to achieve the objective. Okay, so this is the very that means the candidate has chosen a very suitable method, and also the methodology is highly suitable justification for research techniques, methods, procedures, and the candidate also has really described description and procedures, and also what are the processes involved in the methodology in terms of to achieve the objective that they have outlined in the earlier part. So after your first round of reading for that 6 components just now, you can self-evaluate. Are you really impressed with the proposal? If you are, meaning that you have seen that the research objective are clearly stated, okay, and the scope of study is defined, is well defined, and you are convinced that the research is viable and the methodology is well described. So if you have all these 4 tick, okay, it means that this is a very good proposal and you can proceed with other components of the proposal to continue reading on that. So the other component are the supporting information. That means after that you can really read carefully the background of the problem of the study, the introduction part, and what would be the significance of the studies. And then you can go through the literature review, the Gantt chart, and finally the list of references. So these are some of the things that you need to consider when you read this supporting information. For background study, look at what is the context of this problem. Okay, what is really the some of the literatures or some of the current situation that make these problems happen. So meaning that you can see that what are the situation or environment that can be observed, the problem. And is there sufficient information for the readers to understand the research? So the candidate should be able to write, um, although maybe it sounds technical, but it can give enough information for the readers to understand why is the problems and what it is and why the research need to be done. And for significance of studies, as I mentioned, um, if the candidate has provide sufficient information, so you can see that why is this research is important, okay, and who will benefit from this research, and why do we need to do this. So these are some of the information that actually established from the problem statement, from the research gap, and the candidate should be able to show to us, show to the panels what is the significance of the studies based on these three components. And for the literature review, you should be able to see if the literature review is relevant, meaning that it really covers all aspect of the background studies, the problem statement, and also the methodology proposed. The LR also is very inclusive and comprehensive, and it is also critically written. It's not just a description of the previous work, but it should be have it should include some critical review on that. That means what is the weaknesses or limitation of the previous researchers, so that we can really able to see what are the gap that established from the previous research, and also that is why the proposed research um, is discussed. And then for the Gantt chart, we look at if all research activities are included in the chart. That means starting from the literature review, data collection, and also analysis of results, and thesis writing. And we can evaluate whether the estimated times listed in the Gantt chart is proper or suitable. Okay. And for the references, look at the sources of reference. So it should be reliable and related to the literatures, and also to the scope of studies, and it should be quite up to date. Okay, at least we need about 5 years, 5 years of the literatures conference proceedings and journals and so on. And all these sources of citation should be cited, okay, in the text, and also it is tally between the text and in the references list. So this is just a sample of a proper link proposal. If you have that in place, if you have read the first round of the proposal, and then you followed with the supporting information, graphically, you can see if it is a well-written proposal, is a coherent proposal. So here I just would like to share in terms of visual, okay, how you can see that the proposal is properly linked. For example, when you read a problem statement, you should be able to extract not only one big or problem statement, but what are the sort of like what are the sub statement from that big statements. Okay, for example, in this slide, the candidate shown four um, sub statements from a big problem statements. So this is important because if it is a well-linked proposal, it should have some connection with the research objective. So when the candidate um, establish the research objective. For example, like this, it should be able to link to the problem statements that he or she has discussed before. For example, in this proposal, there are three objectives which link to the problem statements. Research objective 1 for problem statement 1 and 2, objective 2 for PS3, problem statement 3, and research objective 3 for PS4. So from here, you can identify whether the objective is clear, whether it is um, written or it is established specifically for that kind of problem statement. And then it also would be very good if the candidate can show you that from the objective, what would be the methodology. That means this is maybe by objective. So the candidate can show you the approach that should be taken to achieve objective number 1, for example, what would be the activities and what would be the expected outcome. So this expected outcome should actually address the problem statements. So from here, you can see the link between the objective, the methodology, and also to the problem statement. Okay, I guess that's all that I would like to share today. Maybe we can have some Q&A. But in a nutshell, I think um, when you read a proposal, we should maybe you have to read like more than one time, okay, to really get the gist of the research. So you can have a first impression by reading a specific components and then followed by the supporting information. Then that will give you a clear picture on the quality of the research proposal. So with that, I thank you, and maybe we can open to Q&A session. Okay, any question? Puan Haslina, I think can get back to you if there is any question.
Okay. Ada yang apa ni doktor yang ingin bertanya kepada Prof soalan? Assalamualaikum. Ada yang di antara peserta yang ingin bertanyakan apa-apa soalan pada Prof Zuhaina? Okay, di dalam ni kita ada bagi link untuk kehadiran dan juga maklum balas webinar Prof Zuhaina. Ini saya sebagai wakil IPSis ucap terima kasih kepada Prof kerana sudi berkongsi pengetahuan berkenaan dengan tajuk yang kita bentangkan pagi ini. Okey, saya rasa sekiranya tidak ada apa-apa soalan, kita akan hentikan dululah webinar tersebut. Okey. Okey, terima kasih
Terima
kepada
kasih.
Prof.
Terima kasih.
Okey, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.